So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. And let's not mince our words here. We're going to talk about the absolute travesty that was the Belgian Grand Prix.
That's
the
first thing I want to cover.
Can we even call it a Grand Prix?
That's what I want to cover because we've got playlists on our YouTube channel of race podcasts and non-race podcasts. What am I putting this under?
I think it has to go under race podcast because
race.
in the
I have a new playlist
eyes,
of race inverted commas podcast.
In the eyes of the FIA, we had a race.
Let's put it as lap podcast.
We are going to review it, and we're going to do it slightly differently. Normally, we'll go practice, qualifying, race, and we'll go team by team and talk about how everyone done. But there's not much point in that. Let's just go straight to Sunday. Richard, one sentence Sunday review, please.
I mean, family friendly, but Massey's a.
I am stupid.
Fair enough.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Nia.
What?
It's broken.
Ben.
Non-family friendly. Diabolical.
It's just
It says non-family friendly. Provides the most family friendly answer.
Yeah.
It was just a disgrace for me. There's no other way to put it, but a disgrace.
I think the best word to describe the whole proceedings of Sunday is farce, because it was a complete mess. It was an absolute joke. Nobody knew what was going on. Not even the teams knew what was going on. So how are we as viewers, how are the poor, absolutely rain-soaked spectators at the track supposed to know what the hell's going on?
Yeah. I was quite lucky. I knew a bit more about what was going on because I'd watched, I think it was the F3 race on the Saturday, where they went through the same procedure. Delayed start, formation lap, red flag, get underway. So I was like, it's the same thing, but I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting a 3-hour delay in between the formation lap and the get underway.
Red flag, but wait, there's more.
But wait, there's the Alpine pit crew doing the Macarena.
Formation
There's
lap,
Seb
but not
and
for
Mick
long.
Schumacher with two random Aston Martin and Haas team members playing football.
Or the Red Bull mechanics stacking it on live TV.
Oh yeah.
That your one moment in the sun and you do that.
There was two things like that happened this weekend. The Red Bull mechanic and the karting guy who just binned it.
Yes. Yeah, that was his time to shine.
Your one moment to shine. You bin it.
And you bend it. Yeah, so I did know roughly what was going on. But let's get into how things happened. We had the lap to the grid, and Perez was like, I don't want to race today, and drove into the wall. Perez,
having received his new 2022 contract, decided he wanted to go on holiday, so went home early.
It's the
summer
effect.
break wasn't long enough.
No, exactly.
Decided he wanted another Sunday off.
Sign a new contract.
That was his stunt driver. He was still on holiday. He just got someone else in.
He was a bit late to the race, so he got someone else
in
formation lap.
Sergio bent it on the lap to the grid. And we heard our first bit of FIA team radio for the day. Jonathan Wheatley saying, yes, Sergio will not be participating in the race.
Also, we thought.
I mean, because I listened to that back and he literally just said, the damage is too severe. And then Michael kind of seemed to finish the sentence for him with a, thanks, okay. There was no actual, we're retiring the car explicitly said, which I think saved Red Bull in the long run because nobody said the words of the car is being retired. It was just, the front suspension's completely screwed.
Now, obviously, with a pit lane start, you don't take part in the formation lap.
I mean, then we had the whole debacle of they've done 2 laps. Was one of them a race lap? and all that sort of stuff. And has the race started and all that stuff. And
then we had the debacle of delayed start. Is that another lap taken off the thing? It's like,
oh my God,
yes. The bit about was that a race lap, that's pretty easy to understand if you just read that. There's like one sentence in the sporting regulations. It's like, if you do an extra formation lap, one lap's removed from the lap counter, it doesn't count as lap one.
Can you kindly forward that section highlighted to the Sky Sports F1 team, please?
Yeah,
that's what
I found it within
team.
Crofty and Brundle were just like, oh, it's a lap. No.
particularly
No.
Brundle. Crofty, I can understand,
but someone who's
Brundle,
actually raced.
Yeah, as it just stopped being a 44 lap race and became a 43 lap race at that point.
It was no longer the Lewis Hamilton celebratory parade.
Yeah, exactly. So that bit was pretty easy to understand. The bit that I think Mercedes queried this was, does Checo not have anything for like the tyres not being fitted at the 5-minute signal? And
his tyres were still on the car. Just
I don't think
the car
they were.
wasn't attached. Because I think at the 5-minute mark, he hadn't made it back to the garage yet.
Yeah.
So
and
the tyres would have still been on at that point.
I don't even think at the 5-minute mark for the actual formation lap we had, he was in the garage.
Yeah, no.
So
it was after it got red flagged that we first had our shot of the Red Bull in the garage.
Yeah. So I think they had a bit of a point there saying, well, they've missed all the markers for starting the race. How is this all right? And I think Massey at that point was just like, I really don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it was really fair that Checo got to come back into the race. Like you said, he missed all the markers, and usually he wouldn't be allowed back in the race. So like,
the only way I could describe it last night when I was having the discussion about it was the 5 red lights didn't go out. So the race hadn't started.
I mean, technically the 5 lights never went out because we had it's green light on and away we go at the end of the pit lane.
And we go green in Spa.
No, that's Formula E.
It's still...
Yeah, you're right in that the 5 red lights never actually went out. But
so, but by your definition, we never had a race. You heard it here first, folks. It wasn't a race.
It wasn't a race.
No, it wasn't. It was a parade.
We didn't race. It was a procession.
And we called Monaco a procession.
Yeah.
Spa says, hold my beer.
At least at Monaco.
Yeah, Monaco, there was at least 2 overtakes.
Not that we saw
one chance of an overtake.
We saw one of them, but...
And then we got Lance Stroll. I mean, fair play to George Russell. He managed to defend from Lewis Hamilton for 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Absolutely.
That's what I was saying in our group chat last night. I'm so happy for George that he got a podium, but he should have it taken off him.
It's not really a podium, is it?
It's not a podium. Yeah. It's an empty win.
Yeah, but like Lando said, if he was in like George or Max's position, he would like be. If he was in their position, he would say, "No, I want to keep the points and everything." But him being in his position, I think he was 14th, maybe higher because of Lance or something. He was saying,
Lance got a 10-second time penalty at the end.
What? I missed that one.
Lance got a 10-second time penalty. I will pick it up just now.
Pit lane.
The rear wing assembly was changed. Normally that would be penalised with a pit lane start, but everyone
like Kimmy
pit lane.
Yeah.
So here we go.
First of many.
Well, no, there's not actually that many documents. That's the thing.
Yeah, because the FIA are just trying to sweep this under the carpet and get on with it.
So session race temporarily stopped. That's new. I'll show you the document.
Was this under the force majeure bit?
Yep. So he got a 10-second time penalty. So for once, the stewards did not review video evidence.
Oh my God. Were they feeling okay? No, they obviously weren't. Look at what happened yesterday. They obviously weren't.
They considered the extraordinary and unprecedented circumstances during the event, exercising their authority under the International Sporting Code, they note that the assembly was changed during the period where the race was stopped. The same principles apply as for a race suspension. So they're basically saying that so there's a difference between a red flag and a race stoppage, which is what we had yesterday. The race stoppage stopped even the 3-hour timer on the race, extending the window. Whereas a suspension, the 3-hour timer keeps going, the 2-hour timer stops. Normally, you need to start from the pit lane, but he was already there. The approximate equivalent would be a drive-through penalty, but we had 1 lap. So they imposed a 10-second time penalty instead.
See, the approximate equivalent is the drive-through, and then they said, however, in view of the fact that the race has been shortened, the lesser penalties imposed. Now, shortened races are anything less than the full race distance, but that is a very shortened race. Is 10 seconds really equivalent at that stage? I feel like in terms of the whole Grand Prix is 30 seconds, which you would receive if you crossed the line.
Well, it would have been 20 because it's a drive-through penalty.
Oh yeah, because it's not a 10-second stop go. So 20 seconds for the whole Grand Prix. So he's basically been given half a Grand Prix worth of penalty there. So I'm thinking a 2-second time penalty is probably more sufficient. That's right. No, it's just the whole situation is laughably stupid. Like,
It's just
You know,
bonkers.
Mazepin
Yeah, I
got
was
the
gonna say that.
fastest lap.
I was gonna say
Actually,
that.
he didn't.
Hell hath frozen over. The end is now.
Actually, he didn't.
Oh, did they wind it back?
No, they didn't wind it back. No one posted a lap time.
So how do we have a race time?
Yeah, that's the next question.
Holes upon holes in this tapestry of the FIA.
And even if it was by race time, Verstappen would get the fastest lap.
It's where you see Bert Myland, the fastest lap of the
Alan van der Merwe, fastest lap.
Alan
driver
van
of
der
the
Merwe,
day.
driver of the day, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, there's nothing in the fastest lap column of the final race classification. So no one posted a lap time.
What I'm thinking at this point is, hang on a minute. F3 raced. F3 technically posted the fastest lap of a formula. They should get the point.
But yeah, I don't think it really. Lance Stroll, he wasn't in the points.
No, he was 15th.
The penalty just seems superfluous,
Yeah.
but they gave it anyway.
Wait, no, he was 15th because Raikkonen was behind him anyway. So, no, then it was 14th because
Lando was 15th.
Perez crashed out though. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's check where
He qualified.
Final starting grid.
Oh yeah, that was the confusing bit because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, Lando's starting 13th," and then he got onto the grid and it's like, "Yep, 14th." What?
No,
So,
Lando 15th.
Lando
There you go.
15th.
Behind Bottas. Oh, what a yoke!
And then Perez binned it, so everyone shuffles up a space. So Lance was last.
Penalty again, was it?
Oh yeah, his 5 place
he
grid
had-
penalty.
Yeah.
Uh,
L.
So he was literally last. And they gave him a 10-second time penalty.
Rules are rules.
insert
Rules are
water
rules,
polo
yeah.
player pouring water on their face meme
Yeah.
here.
Well, so sorry, he started the race 18th because he'd been in front
Yeah.
of Perez and in front of Raikkonen.
So he has gone from 0 points to 0 points.
Exactly. Shall we talk about points?
It's pointless.
Yeah.
No, it's just a joke.
Get out.
Like for a session that you are not allowed to overtake without being penalized. Why?
Yeah. The championship gap has now been reduced by 5 points without a race.
Woo!
Scripting.
How is that fair?
I mean, George needs to lower the difficulty. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But no, it's just a joke, isn't it? It's not a race. It's not even a. It's not even worth calling it an event, is it?
No.
Honestly, I'd rather they just went, "Look, it's not going to happen."
Yeah.
Well,
I think
Bob's your
everyone
uncle.
would have preferred it just didn't happen, especially the fans there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they were there for like probably
6-7 hours.
Yeah, 6-7 hours in the rain for 2 laps under the safety car.
Sorry, they got 4 if we count the formation laps.
They got 4 laps under the safety car. Yes, they did have F3 if they were interested in
You're
F3.
not paying £200 for an F3 ticket.
You're not paying £200 to see Formula 3 in the Porsche Super Cup.
And a
They've got to see
W
the
Series that
medical
was on the
part,
day before.
You know.
No, you're paying the big bucks to get the big boy show. You're not paying the big bucks for the Kiddie Express.
Like
as good as the support series are, and as much as I enjoy them,
yeah, I love Formula 3.
I wouldn't be paying that much if that was all I was going to see.
Yeah,
I'd be paying 90 quid and going off down and watching GB3 and British touring cars and whatever else they put on at the same weekend at Snetterton, Brands Hatch, Knock Hill, Alton Park, wherever. Not a weekend at Spa where you see 2 qualifying sessions in the wet, a stupid decision to start Q3 when they did, then eventually 9 cars going out for Q3, and then that's it, game done.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it. Now, I know people have spoken about refunding tickets, but the problem is that's the circuit's money and the organisers' money. F1 need to reimburse the track if the track is going to be financially able to refund the spectators.
And technically, they did have an event, so
that's why they ran the laps.
Yeah,
it's going to be somewhere in the small print of it counts. So tough. Yeah. So it's a joke.
There was an event, and so F1 met their contractual obligations.
Yeah. It's a complete joke. And
one thing
Stefano Domenicali's interview with Sky afterwards, like, oh yeah, we care about the fans and we'll be discussing. Yeah, my arse, you discussing it. You're taking your paycheck and you're going to Zandvoort. So
one thing that really slightly confused me and also slightly annoys me is that they were looking for a window to take the cars out. If you were looking for a window where it wasn't as rainy, but you knew it was going to be bad afterwards, don't take the cars out.
I mean, if there was a window where they could have, say, 15 laps,
then the cars would have cleared a lot of water.
The cars would have cleared a lot of water.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with that, getting 15 laps.
Yeah, if they'd done
a window of
a half race distance behind the safety car to create a dry-ish line, and then done a half race distance race, fine.
Yeah,
at least it's a race.
If there's a window for 10 laps, great, fine. That's a better race. But I remember, I think it was Sky was saying they were looking for a window which probably would have only lasted a couple of minutes. So that's about 2 laps again.
It's not enough.
No.
Yeah.
Even the water clearers that they showed, have you seen the NASCAR one? No. It's ludicrous. The NASCAR water clearer for the track is infinitely better than the one that they had.
I guess that's Spa's responsibility though, and they really should know to have a good one because it's Spa.
It's Spa.
I mean, if anything, they should change when they have Spa, because end of August in Belgium is that.
Well, to be fair, when was the last time you saw this happen?
Yeah. True. But also there was floods.
We've been to Spa how many times recently? And it's been dry all weekend.
But there was the floods earlier this year. So
But then imagine that was scheduled for earlier in the season. We only got to go to Spa because it was as late in the calendar. They got to do the track repairs.
True. But even then, the drivers were saying there was still something wrong with the track because of the floods. So
yeah, there was a bump at the bottom of Eau Rouge.
Eau Rouge. Shall we discuss Eau Rouge?
How much time you got? Well, actually, that's how much time I got. I got a lot of time. Right, let's go.
Yeah, we've got lots of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the wise words of Fernando Alonso, it's a yoke. My main issue is the fact that the FIA keep banging on about safety standards and the cars and how great everything's become over the last decade, 2 decades, whatever, and how everything's improving, and yet they haven't changed that one corner. And that's one corner where we've seen in recent years someone die, someone break both their legs, someone break their back, and a 6-car pileup that was honestly horrible to watch. And then Norris absolutely clouting it for good measure. My issue is, and I honestly don't care what other people say at this point, the coverage of it from certain commentators, Brundle, saying that the geography of the landscape makes it impossible to do such alterations. They're doing the alterations between this year and next for MotoGP. That's what I have the issue with. We've raced at Spa for so many years and we've had all of these incidents, but it takes the introduction of MotoGP to facilitate the change. F1 is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport, and Spa is one of the most historic tracks on the calendar. It is iconic. It's up there with Monza. It's up there with Silverstone.
It's one of the founding.
There is no denying that. But the fact that we can't move a barrier 20, 30 feet to increase the safety, but no, the motorbikes get it. What is going on?
Yeah.
They even had Callum Ilott, Jack Aitken, 2 drivers who have raced there for I don't know how many years. Like, Jack Aitken had his crash in 24 Hours of Spa. Both of them were saying, like, both of them lost a friend to that corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, like, all of these drivers, the F1 drivers, saying that, like, you should change the corner as well. I don't know about you, but I think you should maybe listen to the people who are actually going on the circuit rather than someone who sat in their chair thinking, nah, I'll be fine.
Michael Massey has proven the exact epitome of that. Sebastian Vettel, it's a red flag situation. Michael Massey, nah, it's fine. 30 seconds later, Norris has the biggest crash of his F1 career. Seb, what did I say? So yeah, I think it's obviously shown that people in chairs are not as good as bums in seats in F1 cars.
Like, I have a bit more respect if Michael Massey had been an F1 driver. Like, people are saying Seb should be the race director. Like, yeah, like I kind of agree at this point. But like, if he was a racing driver before and had been in F1, I'm no idea if he has or not. I doubt it. If he had, I'd have a bit more respect and a bit more respect about his decisions. But to my knowledge, he hasn't. I don't even know if he's been a racing driver.
It's so the problem for me is the complete polarity between his approach to Saturday and Sunday, in the fact that he sent the cars out in the rapidly deteriorating conditions on Saturday, and every single driver complained of aquaplaning on the straights. 2 of them called for a red flag, and he did nothing. And then Sunday comes around, conditions are comparable. Yes, it's been raining longer, but it's comparable in how wet the track is. And it's like, yeah, no. Sit in the garage.
I think, though, that does show one thing, is that
he learnt. Oh my God.
He learned. Yeah.
Yeah, he learned too late. It shouldn't take a driver having a massive incident for us to learn. Now, don't get me wrong. Learning can occur from big incidents. Grosjean's incident, learning can occur from that because that was a freak accident. That was completely unexpected. Norris's binning it kind of seemed somewhat inevitable given the weather conditions and the fact that it's qualifying and everyone's going hell for leather.
Yeah.
Someone was going to lose it.
Wasn't it Lando and Seb who both were the ones who called for the red flag?
Lando
are.
didn't
No, Lando
explicitly
didn't
call
say
for a
red
red
flag.
flag.
It was
But
Ocon.
like, Ocon. Okay, I knew it was 2 drivers, but I couldn't remember if it was Lando or not. But like,
And I think
that's 2
Ocon called for a
drivers.
red flag basically moments before. Like there wasn't really much time between Ocon saying red flag and the red flags being flown.
Yeah,
But like,
just
But
with
for Seb,
Seb,
there was a, albeit not a long period of time, but there was a period of time.
yeah, but even if there's one driver saying they should red flag it, that should really be enough.
It should be
I-
a signal
I
to
don't
think
agree
really
maybe think
seriously
about
about
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
agree
think
with
about it.
if one driver says
Yeah.
red flag, because I think it was, I can't remember who it was in Baku, just sort of threw about, oh yeah, we should red flag it when Lance Stroll went off. And it wasn't really red flaggable conditions. It was quite safe to go under the safety car.
Yeah.
See, I guess
Like-
the
But in
comparison
terms
you
of-
have there is between Lance going off and Max going off. And it's
Yeah.
pretty similar, but we
I
safety
think-
card one and red flagged another.
I think it's because of where Max went off.
Hmm.
He wasn't
I mean-
really near a marshal post. He was right next to the pit entry, and it's the fastest section of the circuit.
Well, yeah, exactly. But in that point, do the usual thing and go through the pit lane. There's a
They
protocol
did,
for that.
actually. I think they did, and then
And then they just
flagged
red
it.
flagged it.
Yeah,
So,
I-
you know,
I think they red flagged it on the request of Red. Well, not because of Red Bull, but Red Bull did come over and was like, "Here, the tires might be broken.
yeah.
Can we give everyone a pit stop?"
I don't have a problem with it, given that
Yeah.
came out and the following sort of analysis of Lance's tyre blew up about 30 laps in. So did Max's. Every other driver's on about 30 lap old hard tyres. So, yeah, I don't have
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with
much
that
of a
red
problem
flag.
with it. It's just if you know,
But in the wet, driver feedback is very important.
yeah. At the end
Yeah,
of the
like,
day,
I
they're
should
the
be
ones putting their
listening to the
lives on the
drivers.
line for
Yeah,
it.
like, I kind of meant what Richard said. Like, if one driver says it, maybe you should put it into consideration that, maybe we should have a look.
And then when two say it, you start thinking, but
Yeah, when more
when
drivers say
every
something.
single driver is reporting aquaplaning on the straights,
Yeah,
That's when there's a problem.
that's just instant red flag conditions. We've seen it.
yeah,
2007 Fuji, 5 cars off at the first corner. The safety car had to take avoiding action. Like that was exactly what we had. It was 5 cars aquaplaning on a straight.
yeah.
We don't want to be seeing that again.
There were some points in
The
formation-
Nürburgring as well. I think sometime there was
Yeah.
4 cars off at the same corner.
you
It was a
could see,
joke.
with Max behind the safety car in the formation laps, you could see he was getting quite close to the safety car. And even then, he was saying, "I'm keeping my distance between the safety car because there's like 10 cars."
Yeah, it's the
length or
10 car
something.
length.
Yeah, you're
rule.
allowed 10
Yeah.
car lengths. Yeah,
And then he was saying he's keeping more of a distance to not hit the safety car.
And the next
That-
shot is like him
And then the next
alongside
shot
it.
of him is alongside it. Think, maybe something isn't right here in the conditions.
to be fair, Max was also saying, "Yeah, let's race."
Well, that's because
But
he's
he
the
was in
front of the
He
queue.
was
Yeah.
front, yeah,
Literally, even everyone back, like George backwards, was saying,
yeah.
I can't see anything. I
Mm.
can't even see
Yeah.
his rain light." It's just like that's
No, I
instant
agree with
no-go.
the decision not to race.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
I
don't
think
agree with
everyone
the
does
decision
this.
to force a race.
Yeah, but let's go back. We were discussing Eau Rouge.
I think once
Everyone's saying that barriers on both sides need to be changed. The barriers on the right hand side literally can't because there's a cliff.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the barriers on the right hand
Um,
side because the barriers on the right hand side are only needed at the moment because everyone hits the left hand side and it ricochets off the track. So the whole problem is that the angle at which cars will skew off into that corner, into that barrier, and the angle of the barrier itself means that it doesn't matter what you do, your car is going back towards the racing line. And that is just so wrong in such a high speed section. And W Series proved that. And I know that was partly down to weather, but because it
Still.
literally just started raining. But
The
at the
W
same
Series
point,
one,
it was crazy.
W Series one was strange
The sixth
The-
car was odd for me.
The sixth car was odd because they came blistering into it at like full speed.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you not slowing down when there's been yellow flags for about 10 seconds?
Yeah, but you could see they were all going off at the
The
same
first,
patch.
the first three
The first,
all
the
Yeah.
first
lost
three,
it.
fair enough. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was cars 4, 5, and 6 that I'm like,
I think I can the ones that sort of ended up just collecting the ones that bounced off the barriers. I mean, that's fair enough. There's not a lot you can do at that point. For me, it was the last car that was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you saw it with Jack Aitken's crash at the 24 Hours of Spa. That was horrific, and an entire engine block was picked up out of the car and thrown and landed on the tire barrier on the opposite side of the track. So there's a lot of force involved in that. And well, I mean, there's a lot of force involved. It completely destroyed the car. Jack broke his collarbone and one of his vertebrae. Like, that doesn't come easy. But it's the fact that he was hit twice after he'd crashed because he was on the track. I don't have a problem with the track's layout. I have a problem with the barrier position.
Yeah.
And
that's
the
that's
only
an
thing that
important
needs
distinction
changing.
to be made.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people calling for a change to the track.
No, the track
There
is
There's
fine.
not an issue with the track. It's supposed to be a high speed, difficult corner. That's the whole allure of Eau Rouge.
Yeah, the whole point is
It's one of the most challenging corners on
These
the
are-
calendar.
These are the top drivers going at it at the best circuits, and the best circuits have tricky corners. We don't
Yeah.
love Suzuka because 130R and Spoon are a walk in the park. We don't love Silverstone because Maggots and Beckett's is the easiest thing known to man. We love it because it's a challenge. And we'd love to see the best in the business take the challenge and show what they're made of. We're not here to watch the Renault Clio Cup. We're here to watch Formula One.
Exactly.
That's nothing against the Renault Clio Cup. That's it's just a speed comparison. Like, they're not going to have the same sort of forces going through it at the top of Eau Rouge as you are in an F1 car. Like, so yeah, the important distinction to make is the track layout versus the barrier positioning within that. The actual racetrack is fine, except maybe that bump that all the drivers reported at the bottom. Maybe that needs looking at. But in fairness, they were under like 4 feet of water earlier this year. So
yeah, the Eau Rouge, which was named after the
flooded.
river, became a river.
Yeah, Eau Rouge returned to its roots.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is the fact that there's a cabin at the top of the hill, exactly where the barriers need to go. And Martin Brundle coming over and saying like, oh yeah, it's impossible to build the tire barriers there and move it back and excavate it. It's like, what? They've literally built a cabin on a concrete pad foundation. If you can put a concrete pad foundation there, you can put some tires down.
Even in the short term, a solution would be take away the tires and put in Tech Pro.
Yeah, exactly. We have Tech Pro for a reason.
Tire barriers are not absorbing the same way that Tech Pro does.
No.
Tech
That's
Pro,
why we
you
have
hit it
Tech
and you
Pro.
stop.
Yeah, that's why we have it around turn 3 of Sochi and at the final corner of Mexico. Because it will stop people coming back.
High-speed entrance before the sort of low-speed right-hander at the second DRS zone in Sochi.
Yeah.
That's all Tech Pro as well.
Because it stops people bouncing back into the circuit.
Yeah, and Tech Pro is just infinitely better.
Yeah, so basically the circuit organizers need to get it together and actually pull their finger out and make changes, I don't know, before everyone dies. And the FIA needs to pull their finger out and force circuits to make the changes that would make it safer in a timely fashion of last year.
Yeah, the FIA definitely need to update their Grade 1 license requirements.
Because at the minute, anything without Tech Pro, pretty much a Grade 1.5 for me.
Not even without tech, bro, because there is sections where it's not needed.
Oh
There's
yeah,
some
no,
tracks
definitely
that
not.
probably
Yeah,
isn't needed at all. Like you don't need it on the outside of Spoon at Suzuka
no, exactly.
because there's so much space.
Yeah.
But Eau Rouge, you do.
Where it's needed, where it's warranted, it should be mandated that it should be there. But where we just have tires, it's just not good enough in this day and age. We're always going on about the improved safety, and yet we're still using tires. Now I get it, tires are cheap, that's brilliant, it helps the circuit organizers because they don't cost a fortune to replace the tire barrier, but at the same time,
safety is more important.
Why are we looking at cost saving measures if it's at the expense of human life?
Safety. Yeah.
So, because I don't have any doubt in my mind that all of the crashes we saw this weekend and in years previous that resulted in a car coming back across the track, and whether that resulted in a separate collision, like in Hubert's case, or in the incident collision in Aitken's case, I have no doubt in my mind that if the barrier had been put back and reprofiled, they wouldn't have happened.
I think the only one that probably would still have happened from recent times is the W Series one.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have been in such a bad way because they wouldn't have been as close to the racing line.
Yeah.
So it might not. Let's just put this out for the record. Changing it will not negate crashes.
No, there will still be incidents.
That's the nature of motorsport. You find the limit, sometimes you step over it. When you step over it, it ends in a crash. What we don't want is when one person steps over the limit, it instigates a chain of events that could otherwise have been avoided by simple measures such as reprofiling a tyre barrier.
Yeah. Like, we don't want them to change Eau Rouge into a straight.
No, definitely
not. It's literally a straight from La Source right the way up to Le Combe.
Mate, you'd have here comes Sebastian Vettel, and there goes Sebastian Vettel, because he'd be gone.
That would be quite interesting. Imagine just a DRS zone from Le Combe.
Mate, a DRS zone up the hill. They take off.
They already do. That's the thing.
I mean, all the drivers say they go light in the seat, but you'd have a DRS zone going through that, saying you will take off. So, I mean, it seems.
I think Alex
so
J put it right at the start of the first F3 race this weekend, of that we should never stop in the pursuit of safety. This is Spa's configuration number 12. No matter what, it will still be exciting. It will still be iconic. Yeah. Now, while we don't necessarily want the configuration change this time, all we want is a new barrier.
Exactly. And while that might come down to a technical configuration change in the fact of the track map's updated because it's now got an extra runoff section, it's just continuing the work that Sid Watkins kicked us off on. Yeah. Like, all of these drivers, all the way back through the 60s, 70s, 80s, they've all been pioneering for safety because we don't want to see people die. We want to see good racing. Good racing doesn't come if the driver is dead. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's taken the introduction of MotoGP to a circuit as infamous as Spa to change a single tyre barrier, to me, is
even after they've had someone sadly pass away at that circuit, at that corner, it's taken MotoGP to change it.
I think putting Antoine's in it is quite difficult because although the initial incident sort of started
but that's the thing, because the initial incident resulted in somebody coming back onto the track, which resulted in avoiding action onto the other side of the track, which resulted in Hubert's crash. What we're saying is, if that initial incident hadn't
as well,
if that hadn't have come quite back across quite as far, Hubert wouldn't have had to take such drastic avoiding action, might not have been hit, and therefore wouldn't have been collected by Juan Manuel Correa.
Yeah.
It's, think that these are things that could have saved lives if they'd been done sooner.
Just
the halo could have saved lives if brought in sooner. The amount of lives that thing could have saved.
Well, you bring up Juan Manuel. I think it's important to say how amazing it was to see him back at Spa this weekend.
Yeah,
and how brave of him to be there as well.
The mental resilience of that man.
It must have been so traumatic. Even just the first time going past that corner, that must have been so traumatic.
And there was a beautiful picture on his press team's newsletter or something of his car going past, going through Radion, and the flowers that get left during every F1 weekend now at the site where Antoine first hit the barrier. It was a very poignant picture, and it was great to see Juan Manuel back in a car at that circuit. Because although we've seen him at the circuit last year, there's a total difference between being there and racing there.
There's a difference between being there and having your leg in a massive, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not a cast, is it? Because he had literal metal spikes in his leg at that stage. I don't want to call it like a collar because it's like, I don't know, a protective tube.
It's amazing to see how quickly he recovered.
A
year and a half, I think.
Yeah,
he was back in the car.
That crash, he was back in the car,
and he'd been in the sim before he got back in the car. There were videos of him in the sim with that whacking great leg support thing on, and it's like how.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how quickly he'd done it and how quickly he got back in the car and racing at this circuit.
I think now is probably a good time to segue. Well, I guess we haven't really touched on qualifying.
I mean, the only real thing to talk about in qualifying is the fact that they didn't red flag
George
P3 and George P2.
Yeah,
almost P1. Was P1 for a while.
Imagine George taking pole and won the race.
He would be a race winner. Yeah. It's just the pain for me as a Lando fan is that he was quickest in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Lando would have taken pole.
That could have been his first win. It wasn't a proper race, but it could have been his first win.
But because Michael Massey's too slow on the old trigger finger with the red flag, they had a 5-place grid penalty and are probably somewhere north of £1 million repair bill.
Yep.
Thanks, Michael.
Because that car was shreds.
Yeah, that was completely destroyed. Actually, what we should say, Seb Vettel, Human of the Year award.
Yeah.
What a boy.
Pulling up and just stopping.
Yeah. I
actually thought he was going to get out of the car.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to do it was Senna and who was it? It was at Blanchimont. He literally got out of the car, ran over and switched the guy's car off.
Yeah. But I think he said if he hadn't have seen Lando moving, he would have gotten out of the car. Because he gave Lando a thumbs up. And then Lando gave him a thumbs up back. So he was okay, he's good, he's awake, that's great.
Yeah. And the medical car wasn't far behind him. So
no.
Yeah, that's the one good thing about where that happened was the medical car can arrive.
On the scene instantly. Yeah.
Literally just coming out the pits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it probably cut through the endurance pit lane. Rather than properly taking Lecom and stuff. Not Lecom, La Source, whatnot. It was just it went straight through the endurance pit lane and up. Same as there was the fast intervention vehicle from the circuit on scene almost immediately as well.
Yeah, because that's the pit exit road for that pit lane, isn't it? That they use at Spa, the 24 hours of Spa. Sorry.
That's exit there.
So that's just the easy route up for them as well. So and that road literally took them to the scene of the incident, given that Lando had come all the way across the track. So, I mean, it was great to see George up there, and it has once again proven that he is a talent And the interviews with Toto afterwards were somewhat spicy because
mean,
it
Yeah, I
seems
think we
that they've
already
made
know.
their decision.
Yeah, Toto
Oh no, they
has said
have.
they've made
Yeah.
their decision.
Toto said, and so has George. George knows where he's going next year.
Mercedes.
It certainly
Yeah, I think
seems
we know
that
it's going to
way.
be Mercedes at this point.
Yeah, I think everyone knows. Everyone
So-
does know.
Whether they want to know or not is a different story. Sorry, Valtteri. What a birthday present. Have a 5-place grid
Yeah.
penalty, and the guy taking your seat dumps it on P2. Absolute savage behavior from George Russell, and I am here for it.
So that's qualifying.
Yeah.
Nothing else really happened in practice.
Also, I just want to say that Lando's Q2 time was the fastest time of anybody across any session. So Lando should have been on pole. Just saying.
Yeah.
Now that I've had that, I'm good. I'm done. Thanks.
Formula 3?
Yeah, I didn't really watch.
Jack Doohan
Formula
had a
3.
great weekend. He won
Yeah.
2
Yeah, Jack
races.
Doohan Jack Doohan had pretty much the perfect weekend
Yeah,
think
Dennis
that you
Hauger
can
was
get
like
from Formula 3.
Dennis Hauger was like P10 and like ran there the entire time. I was like,
Yeah, he did not have a good
No.
weekend.
I can't remember the exact graphic they put up, but I think it was like Jack Doohan's the first Formula 3 driver to win 2 races in a race weekend
yeah,
this season,
Mm.
which tells you A, how competitive Formula 3's been, but B, how good of a drive that was.
Yeah.
Because those were not easy conditions. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, we didn't race on the Sunday because it was raining, but
No, we
Formula,
did.
Formula 3 got out earlier, so it wasn't as bad, but it was still bad.
Mm.
So
I think Doohan only got that second race win because
that was
Nannini, I think it was. No, not Nannini. Who was it? Martin, Victor Martin. They were wheel to wheel, and I will be
Into
honest,
No
Doohan
Name.
sort of pushed them off
Yeah.
at no name, which
And
then
then-
caused them to go wide at Puon. So I think there could have been a case for him to keep the position, but he gave it back, and Doohan just drove off.
Yeah, it was it was under instruction from the team, which is understandable because it would have avoided a penalty or whatever. And given the pace that Doohan had in the last few laps, I don't think it would have been, even if he hadn't got past him on circuit, I think he would have been well within that, let's face it, a probable 5-second time penalty that he would have received.
I think it would have been an incredibly harsh 5-second time penalty, though.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's what he was going to receive if the FIA deemed it that way. Even if because yes, he was faster in the few laps where he was making the overtake attempt, but then the drier it got, because the cars just kept going round, the more it flipped towards Doohan's favour.
Yeah.
So, and he was so much faster at the end. So,
one thing I did notice from this weekend is there's a Formula 3 driver fast approaching a race ban. They've got 7 penalty points on their license.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Nikita Mazepin's prodigal son.
I'm just trying to find who it is. I remember seeing it in one of the documents earlier in the weekend. Yeah, Cordial for Campos.
Amory Quartil. Okay.
Yeah, 22, 7 penalty points for the season so far.
Yikes. Leaving the track several times without justifiable reason.
Yeah, this was a 5th time.
I love
He already had a 5-second time penalty and then got another one.
DJ Khaled.
It was a bit like Lewis.
A bit like this in Bahrain. 29
no,
times.
not in Bahrain, but in Russia.
He only
last
done it
year.
29 times. That's not bad.
Yeah, but in
29 is
Russia,
less than 5.
where it was practice start 1, practice start 2.
Give us another one.
Yeah, another one. But how do you go off the bit of the track 5 times in the same corner?
Turn 9 is no name.
No name.
How do you manage that? Like, okay, I mean, I could have understood if it was like
In a
poo on.
16-lap race.
Yeah.
That's once every 3 laps he was cutting No Name.
The sort of the hairpin before where understeering is notorious and maybe
Yeah.
poo on afterwards. I can kind of understand running wide a few times in those conditions, but No
But
Name.
No Name.
No?
Yeah.
No name.
And
No
then
excuse.
race 1 was actually, it was interesting. Car 31 received another penalty. Chauvenet got one after the conclusion of the race.
Oof.
So he got a 5-place grid penalty. Suspended for not serving a 10-second stop and go penalty. And Charoux's got a €1,000 fine.
That's something I want to speak about. The FIA are quite happy to distribute fines to teams and drivers and competitors for their mistakes. But when the FIA make a mistake, where's the consequence?
Well, I mean, they just
Where's-
get fired if they. If it was
Where's
that
the
bad a mistake.
accountability?
The teams find the FIA. We want money for your mistake. How are the terms and
Seb
tables?
for race director. Not that I tried to get that hashtag going or anything. It
Yeah.
did not gain traction.
I did see it a couple of times.
Yeah, I saw it a grand total of 4 times from people that weren't myself.
Yeah, apparently they didn't know about the mandatory penalty due to a pit wall issue. And so didn't tell the driver. So he just didn't serve it.
Well, I mean, if the driver's not been told, then it's not exactly his fault, is it?
Yeah. It was like the one, I think the same thing, was it Formula 3 it happened in?
What, where the team were
Freca.
arguing the case?
Where the team just went, nah, don't serve the penalty.
I think it was Formula 3.
Yes,
Formula
I
3,
kind of remember that.
excellent for serving penalties.
Penalty? What penalty? Much like Michael Massey and his rain goggles. Rain? What rain?
Didn't they get disqualified? Oh no, it was Formula E.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
And so Degrassi just got black flag after
That was
he
quite fun,
decided
though.
to overtake under the safety car by just going through the pits.
Mate, that was a
That-
genius move, to be
He only
fair.
got black flag because he didn't stop.
Well,
You
no,
could
he
see
only
him
got
slip.
black flagged because he didn't serve the penalty.
Oh yeah. He got a penalty because he didn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that
Genius
they've changed the sporting regs because of that, because he found such a huge loophole, is hilarious. And if
It
he'd
does-
actually stopped and pulled it off, it would have been
Yeah.
amazingly hilarious. Yet,
It would have been amazing, but
Controversial.
so bad.
how did you win? I overtook everyone by going through a speed limited section of track. Okay. Seems legit.
Yep. But yeah, that was at least Chauvenet didn't get disqualified because he at least didn't know about the penalty. Audi knew about the penalty and just went, nah, keep driving.
Don't
It's
feel
okay.
like that today. Maybe
Yeah.
next time.
Not today.
That was interesting. W Series. Oh wait, who? Sorry, it was Campos won race 1.
Campos then Trident second, but the second, third.
Yep.
Doing and doing.
Whose name? Who was it again?
Do 1 and do 2. Yeah.
I was thinking of something to do with the one.
I was just going dad jokes. You know, he did one win and now he did another.
Lorenzo Colombo won race 1 after 15 laps. Not a single Formula 3 race went the distance this weekend.
Are you surprised? Look at the weather.
Race 1 went 15 laps, race 2 went 16 laps, and race 3 went 15 laps, I think. 14? 14 laps.
They're all meant to
So-
be 17 laps.
They were all meant to be 17 lap races. Still more running than Formula 1.
Yeah. by a long way.
To W Series, and I now need to leave the FIA's website because that's not where their docs are.
No, they got their own stuff.
Yeah, they've got their own website. Ooh.
Well, Chadwick dumped it on pole
And then didn't
after the scenes. I think is the only way you can describe it at the start of qualifying.
Yeah.
But very glad that everyone was able to mostly walk away from it. I know Bajkoviska got out and then probably rolled to the floor because she was just in so much pain. And honestly, can't blame her. Probably would have done exactly the same and probably wouldn't have even got out of the car. But I think all of them, bar one, were given the green flag by the medical team to race the next day. And
All
even
of them were.
I thought it was one that wasn't, but they were green to race next weekend. But I don't know. I can't confirm.
I've
There's
just noticed I
only-
don't have a final classification from W Series. Interesting.
On the website, it's all the way down, but it's just round 5. And there's no like big heading or anything. It's just
Yeah, no, I've got it. I've got the
Yeah.
race provisional classification, but there's no final classification. Strange.
Provisional's good enough for us.
Yeah, because there's also no like championship points one either.
That's under standings. They don't really do it race by race. They just kind of, they just give you
So-
the full standings.
Here is the classification from the W Series race. We'll just use the document. Still longer than the Formula One race.
By a long way.
Yes, by quite some distance. So, Kymmelainen winning the race from Chadwick, Garcia, Powell, Wood, Hawkins. Anyone want to enlighten me?
Volvend,
Volvend, Marty,
Koyama.
Koyama, Eaton, Cook,
Perea, I think.
Perea, Moore, Garcia, Tomaselli, and Dest.
Ardest.
Dest. You can tell I watched this with the commentary off.
You should also specify that it's M. Garcia in
Yeah.
third and B. Garcia in 14th.
Oh yeah, there's two Garcias. Yeah.
Not related. Just
Yeah,
put
as
that
I
out
say,
there.
you can tell
I-
I watched that with the commentary off.
I wish they were in the same team. Like I wish
That would be hilarious.
that would be great.
Garcia W Series.
You
team.
can actually watch the practice session on YouTube live, and you won't actually have to mute it because there's no commentary for it. So you just hear the cars,
Yeah.
and everyone in the live YouTube chat is just going, "Is there no commentary?" Or asking,
Who is it
"Is this
does
Formula
commentary for
3?"
W Series again?
Alex Jakes, I think.
Commentates W Series.
Yeah.
DC
Alex Jakes and Billy Munger.
and no, it's DC sometimes.
No, it's yeah.
They
but
also
it's
have
just
Ted
TNT.
Kravitz drop in.
Yeah, Ted Kravitz
Yeah.
is like the notebook for W Series. Basically,
I like it
Pit
when
lane reporter.
Ted. I would listen to Ted, but DC annoys me sometimes on commentary. So he's a bit like the Resta.
I saw the funniest tweet about
Go
DeResta.
ahead.
Elaborate.
Paul DeResta dysfunction.
I knew that was gonna. I knew that was.
Oh dear.
It's funny because there's ads for erectile dysfunction on Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Paul, the comments that DeResta came out with this week. Oh, you should drive to the. You weren't doing that when you were in the car. If
Yeah,
you were in
exactly.
the car, you'd be going hell for leather because that's what you're paid to do. So kind of, I don't know, rein it in,
Yeah.
swallow
And,
it, and don't just vomit this utter nonsense that you're giving us.
That's the one thing I will say about W Series as well. They still need to fix their broadcast. It's on 3 different channels across the weekend.
Yay. It makes
Didn't it
life
have
so much fun.
Didn't it have
Even
to get,
Formula E isn't that bad. They were only on 2.
Didn't the race for W Series have to get moved to YouTube because they ran out of time for W Series?
No, it was
I
on
remember
Channel 4.
seeing something about that.
It was on Channel 4.
Oh, I
And
thought they
then
had to move it onto YouTube because they just ran out of time.
they might have done like post-race stuff on YouTube or something.
Oh,
but
probably.
I don't know. It was just, another rain-affected race, but It was all good.
Yeah.
Kimmerleinen up to third in the championship because of that. So not bad.
This is like one of the only Sundays I'm not working.
Mm.
4 hours. I was sat downstairs with two of my brother and two of his friends. 4 hours.
I do want to say though, big props to Liberty Media for uploading the entirety of the race to
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. I watched the Old Firm game. Quite big here in Scotland if you're not a football fan.
It's like the only competitive game.
Yeah, pretty much. And then tuned in. So
TV.
I tuned in just as the opening titles started playing and stuff. And I'm like, here we go. Race control, delayed start. Oh no.
My favorite one was the after the whole long period of red flag, and a weather update will be issued in 5 minutes. And the update was, an update will be issued in 5 minutes. And it was just the same message.
It reminded me of practice at Germany last year.
Yeah. Where it got rained and misted out.
Yeah, it got fogged off. And it was just, an update will be provided in 15 minutes. An update will be provided in 15 minutes. Pit lane will not open.
Shock.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Sounds
Could've guessed
good.
that.
The Discord got so bored that we started playing a quiz in the live race chat.
We did. It was actually
Yeah.
very funny.
It got kind of competitive. It got quite competitive.
It got very competitive.
There were 3 instances where I was involved. I was involved in all of them, where 2 of us posted something like a split second. Someone posted split second after me.
It
or, like,
literally came down to internet
Yeah.
connection lag.
yeah. the 3 times that happened with me involved. It was the first time it went on for like 2 minutes, but it was just arguments.
But anyway, moving on. This is a triple header. We have another race. We're going to
Meant to-
Zandvoort.
Meant to
Another
rain in Zandvoort.
race? Does that mean you're counting Spa?
It's scheduled to rain in Zandvoort.
Unfortunately, points were awarded,
Yeah.
so we have to count Spa, which means, Richard, please bring up our podium and bold predictions from Spa.
The book of
Because
knowledge is coming out.
I want my bold prediction counted because I said every car would make it through
Hey.
La Source.
Checo made it through La Source once the race had started.
Exactly. I
Get
said
in the
all
bin.
the cars would make
Get
it
in
through
the
La
bin.
Source.
Mine
he
was
did.
mine
Once the race had started.
Mine
Yeah,
was
that's where we take bold predictions.
Yeah.
mine was a Hamilton Verstappen crash. That happened.
Also,
definitely
also Chris,
happened.
how's that lap 2 DNF going for Mazepin?
Technically
Yeah.
everyone DNF'd on lap 1.
Well, everyone finished.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah,
You could say everyone did not start.
I mean, it didn't really
yeah
get
no
going,
one
did it?
started lap 2, so I want that counted as well.
Jesus Christ.
More points.
Right, so Alex's podium was, well, he said
It's just
Hamilton
except
on
no
pole.
one's getting points for the podium because Russell's there.
Yeah. Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris on podium.
So that's 2 points.
Correct. Then Nia said Verstappen on pole and Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. So
2
you
points.
get
3 points.
no, 3 points for Verstappen on first place, 1 point for Verstappen pole, and 1 point for Hamilton being on the podium. 5 points.
Ooh.
Wait, so
3
You said
points if
that
you get the driver in the
Vers-
correct location. 1 point for pole.
Oh,
1
I
point
thought
if
it
you
was
get
just-
the right driver on the podium.
Free
And
fall.
isn't it 15
Yeah, no,
points if you
it's-
get it all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nia's bold prediction being a Hamilton and Verstappen to crash, and then putting Lewis
Oh,
on
yeah.
the podium.
Well, I suppose you could have a non-race
Non-DNF
ending
crash,
collision.
Ben?
Oh, I was going to you. Chris.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton for pole.
Yep.
Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas.
2 points.
Did somebody forget Bottas had a 5-place grid penalty?
No, I didn't, but I
Then-
knew it was Spa where you can overtake.
This is
Also, we
Bottas.
thought-
I remind you of Albon last year going
This
from
is
20th to 5th.
Bottas.
Albon!
Albon's not in F1.
No, but I'm pointing
Albon
out when he
has
went from
talent.
20th to 5th.
Albon can overtake.
Also, bold prediction point, please. Everyone made it through La Sauce.
All cars make it through La Sauce. Did they?
1 point.
Did they?
Yes. Everyone finished. 1 point. 3 points for me.
Then Max on pole, podium, Hamilton, Max, Norris. So
5 points.
3 points.
Oh, is it just 1 point for Paul? Okay.
Yeah, it's one point
So you
for
can
pole.
say
Come on.
5 points.
Yeah, I was giving you 3 points for Paul.
Jesus,
I'll
man's just
take that.
man's giving it away.
This has just got a free for all now.
I'm just doing what the FIA done. They're just giving away 3 points.
Yeah, Chris is going, you get a point, you get a point, everyone gets a point.
And so I said Verstappen on pole and Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton. Oh, 16 points.
Haha, no.
No, I said Verstappen for pole, and then I said Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz as my podium. So I get 5 points.
Yeah.
Sad.
What was
Sainz
your bold
misses.
prediction, Richard?
Both Ferraris and both McLarens to finish in the top 8.
No. Lando's qualifying had other ideas.
Thank you, Michael
Ferrari's
Massey.
qualifying had other ideas.
Yeah, but they do well in the race usually. Like
Yeah,
they've always gone forwards. I had
You
hope.
don't have a race.
I know.
So moving on to Zandvoort. Let's get straight into it. Richard, pole position.
It's going to be Max.
Ben, pole position.
Max.
Nia, pole position.
Max.
And I'm going to go Max as well because it is the Dutch Grand Prix. And we will message
I've got
Alex.
Alex's. It's
Oh, you've got
Verstappen.
Alex's. Okay. Richard, podium.
Verstappen, Hamilton. Yeah, you know what? Norris. Why not?
Ben.
I have got Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez.
Nia.
Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris.
I'm going Ham Verbot.
It's like he's purposely trolling because he's back.
No, I just genuinely think Lewis will win the race.
And Alex gave me the Hambot.
Do we have social media predictions this week, Richard?
Do indeed. So Swiss Mark F1 did not give me a pole position prediction, but the podium of Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. Harry Hamo 4 said Verstappen for pole and Verstappen, Norris, Ricciardo podium. Hamble 93 said Verstappen on pole. Podium of Perez, Bottas, Norris. Der Wolf 8 said Hamilton on pole and Verstappen, Perez, Norris podium. Isaac AB said Hamilton pole, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris podium. And Macazance said Verstappen pole, Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris podium. There's a lot of McLaren love going around lately. Like it.
I'd also just like to say what Isaac AB said. So we all just kind of assuming Lewis crashes out next week in reverse of Silverstone.
Wouldn't be shocked. Let's have some bold predictions, please.
I'm just going to use my one from last week because I forgot about bold predictions.
Verstappen to spin into turn 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to use either a Hamver crash or a teammates crash.
Okay.
I have got Alpine double point.
Okay. Alex sent me his, and he said Perez out of the points for the 4th race running. And
Interesting.
I'm going to
Do you want
say
Red Bull to win the constructors?
no, he doesn't. His prediction earlier on said Mercedes were going to win it. I'm the only one that said Red Bull were going to win the constructors. And my bold prediction, I will say that one driver will gain at least 5 places during the Grand Prix.
So the Antonio Giovinazzi clause.
Yes. This is the one weekend where Giovinazzi bins it. And that brings us to Mazepin Bingo. I still haven't got a jingle. With a grand total of 72 laps of Zandvoort. Will Mazepin finish?
No.
Chris has said no. Okay, and will he be lapped before he DNFs?
No.
Okay. Ben, will he finish?
Yes.
What lap will he be lapped for the first time?
28.
And how many laps down total?
2.
Nia.
Yes, he will finish.
Mm-hmm.
Lap 25, 3 laps down.
Old 3 laps down.
Old
Okay.
faithful.
Alex has said he will finish. He will get lapped on lap 27, threading the needle between you two there. And he will finish 2 laps down. And he also added in brackets, and he won't get back-to-back fastest laps. I'm going to say he will finish. He will first get lapped on lap 31, and he will finish 2 laps down. Because I think Zandvoort's just going to be awkward to overtake. So hopefully that will play into my advantage. Right, so that rounds our predictions. Anything else we're looking forward to?
Can I just touch on F1 fantasy for a second?
Oh no.
I'm on our league. Like everything's pretty much normal, except Belgian Grand Prix hasn't finished.
It's because it hasn't started.
Leaderboards will update after the race week finishes. They're usually done by now.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they just don't know what they're going to do.
We've all got our mega drivers available again.
Netherlands is available from the 4th of September, which is this Saturday.
That's cutting it fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us for what has been a very strange podcast episode. Hopefully normal service will resume next week. It is due to rain in Zandvoort this weekend.
Now, I just want to, on that premise, I do want to say, normally we do ask for rain with a Formula One weekend. Now I'd like to stipulate not too much.
Yeah.
Please and thanks.
Rain dance for small rain dance.
A drizzle dance, please.
Yeah, it is scheduled to rain this weekend, but yeah, so hopefully we'll get a nice clean race this weekend. That actually happens.
Let's just hopefully we get a race this weekend. I'll go for that. Given that this was the first race back after the summer break, and we get that
race.
But thank you very much for sticking with us this week. We wanted to bring you something a lot better because we wanted there to have been a race.
Instead, you guys got.
Hey,
but please
lasted longer than the Grand Prix did.
Please do stick with us, and we will hopefully bring you a lot more next week. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.